Right, mate. So how are you and the family doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. Yeah, yeah, we're great. I mean, the kids and Jen. Obviously, we're last couple of weeks they probably had a grumpy me, but but it's yeah. Apart from that, yeah, family's good. Can't complain, mate. And yeah, going good.
Good man. So before we get stuck into your story, mate, where was home and who lived with you as a kid?
Where was what, sorry?
Where was home for you as a kid and who lived with you?
Yeah, St Helens, mate. Yeah, yeah. I actually grew up just down the road from the stadium, the old Moseley Road Stadium. We lived just off that, and yeah, so memories of obviously going there as a kid with my dad and my older brother, and you know, sitting on the wall there. It's yeah, great memories, and grew up watching rugby league. Obviously, grew up playing as well along with football, but. Yeah, some great memories there going up to Nosey Road and watching the team.
Yeah, but it was, mate. So how was you introduced to rugby and how did that come about and who was it that introduced you to it?
I did play a little bit to rugby here and there, like growing up, but I was more football. You know, I had an older brother, like I mentioned, and you know, he was into football as well. So I probably went down that path really, and it was only really at school that probably. When I got to Cowley Secondary School, when I started playing, you know, for them on a Saturday, and that was more rugby union as well. So it wasn't as if I was playing a lot of league. So, but I've always been interested in it. You know, I was probably better at rugby. Probably better at football growing up. So I kind of stuck at that. So yeah, it was late on before I started playing rugby proper.
And do you think that's why maybe Saints infiltrated Cowley to try and poach rugby lads from playing union to playing league, really? Because you were predominantly union at Cowley, weren't you?
It was, yeah. I mean, they did have, I suppose, later on in the years, you know, we started playing a bit more league. They had like a cup game. We used to play Rainford quite a lot. So you did play a league, but it was just every week, every Saturday, you'd go off to all the posh schools, you know, all the like merchant sailors, all the posh boys, and you know, we all rocked up with ties hanging round our head, and they was all dead smart.
All the pads and that.
Yeah, and it was good, you know, like to experience that as well, and going them schools and grammar schools and playing, and you know, Robes was at Cowley as well, and he was a year older than me, and you know, he did the same, but he obviously played rugby league, you know, on the weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, it you know, it was great that, but I never really seen myself playing rugby league at that point. You know, I was always interested in football. I don't know if you know, I was at Everton as well, so I had that to concentrate on. And you know, obviously, it was only when I got released by Everton at 15 that you know I started playing rugby league. Then, and that's when I went down to Moss Bank first, and they was actually in the league below. So I wasn't really taking it serious. It was just one of my mates asked me to come down and. I was playing rugby in the morning and I played football in the afternoon. So I was doing two, 15. And then the year after, it kind of clashed. And my dad just said, listen, you're going to have to pick one, mate. It's you know, it's going to get too much for you. So I was just enjoying rugby league at the time. And that's when he said, well, let's take it a bit serious. You know, you need to probably go to a better club, better amateur club. And, you know, I went down to Blackbrook from there.
Right.
And then got signed for Saints. So it happened really quick, really, the rugby league. But yeah, I was probably more predominant into football as a kid growing up.
Right. So let's go back a little bit. Then how did it go about? How old was you when you got signed by Everton then?
Well, they had to sign me Everton. I was playing actually schoolboys for St Helens, and Everton had to sign me. They couldn't ask me to come on trial because I was already at Wigan Athletic. Right. So I did from probably 6 or 7 years old. I was at Wigan Athletic, and so I did obviously all that, and then Everton come in and they were interested in me after playing for Town, and they said, yeah, we want to sign you, kind of thing. So they gave me a 3-year deal at 12. I was 12 years old when I signed there, and did 3 years there. And unfortunately, you know, when it comes to paying players, then at 16, when you're becoming a man. It's you know, they let quite a lot of people go, and I was the one that let go as well, and that's when I left. But you know, I had some great memories there. I mean, playing, you know, Wayne Rooney was a year older than me. I played alongside him a couple of times, and Victor Amachibi, I don't know if you remember him. James Vaughan was there. They were younger. So it was,
mate, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It was just and football. Like looking at my rugby career, football's probably helped me with the rugby career. Like some kicking and stuff. So some good times like growing up, and like I say, I've always been a St Helens fan. I've always watched Saints. I've always gone with my dad and my brother and my mates. As I've got older, and so it's always been in kind of my life, rugby league, but. It was probably just because of I was doing quite well at football. I never really did it as a kid.
That's fair enough. So, did you sign for Wigan before you played for your town, then, Matt? Yeah.
I was at Pilks, which was my amateur club, and then I think Wigan early on. It's not like they do now with the academies. It was. I wouldn't say it was laid back, but it was twice a year. It was twice a week. You went training. It was kind of like. Just come down. There was no contract signed back then. It was just, we're interested in you. We like you as a player. I actually went with Phil Marsh. I don't know if you remember Phil Marsh. He went on to play for United. He's from St Helens, obviously, as well. So I went with him, and it was going on for obviously a few years, that. And then I had to sign for Everton then just because it was my boyhood club, the team that I support now. So. I didn't really want to tell you that after last night, but we're not going too well at the minute. But it was my club and still is now. So to get the opportunity to go and play there was something.
Even at that age, it would have been massive.
It was. It was great. It was you get to train at Belfield and Everton, which was the training grounds then. I got to ball boy for the first team because of playing the academy and met the players, and it was just. Yeah, it was a good 3 years. It was a good experience. Obviously, it's gutting as a kid when you get released, whether you play rugby or football. But looking back on it now, I can look back and say it probably helped me my rugby career and them experiences definitely. And I've done okay in rugby as well, which is worked out good.
Yeah. So do you know when you played for the town, what was the process of selection and trials, Matt, for the football?
Yeah, it was. I think, thinking back now, we actually went to Belgium. It was just, I didn't get picked on the first one, and then, just the second one, it just come down just a case of going for trials and then coming down watching you playing for your local amateur side, Bill. So I just got picked up from there, really. Yeah.
Right, and what position did you play?
I was a striker. Yeah, back then as a young. When I went to Everton, I think I played everywhere apart from goalie and left back. But they actually put me everywhere in that 3 years. I even played right back at one point. So I was always a striker. Growing up, I was always up front. Like scoring goals. And as you grow a little bit older, you experiment a little bit, don't you, with different positions. And so I played a few different positions for Everton there.
Right. So I was transitioning to high school. Then was it pretty easy with you being involved in sports and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I had this conversation with my wife a bit like, and for me, I was always popular, because I was the sporty type, and I was good at football, so I never really had to. I never had to try. I don't make think that, but I didn't really have to try with anyone because he plays for Everton, and I had mates just because of that. Whether they like me or not,
that's it, isn't it?
So he's good at football. Like he's popular, and Phil, like I mentioned before, Phil Marsh, who was my age, he went to United, so it was me and him. But I suppose it was easy for me transitioning into high school because of that. It doesn't take it away that it's nerve-wracking your first day of secondary school, but that probably helped me out being good at sport.
And with you being attached to a club, mate, was you allowed to do PE and that?
To be honest, no, I wasn't allowed to play early on for rugby union. I always wanted to. They obviously let me do PE, but in terms of playing an actual game for your school, which looking back now, I probably missed out on quite a lot.
Yeah.
When my focus was playing for Everton, but when all your mates are playing on a Saturday morning and then they're coming into school on the Monday all talking about it, you obviously feel a little bit left out, but it was what it was, and I had to do it. I had to sacrifice that, and then later on, I obviously got the chance to play, when I got released. But it just is what it was at the time.
Right. So up until you got released, mate, any representative opportunities for football through high school?
No, not really. No, apart from obviously the Wigan Athletic and then signing for Everton, I didn't really play for the town team then. Because of obviously I was already signed by a club. So, like I mentioned, I didn't really play for anyone else other than Everton.
Right. So was that like an opportunity window for lads that hadn't got signed, you think? The town aspect of things?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Window, yeah.
Yeah, probably, yeah. I mean, the way it's going now with all these academies, I mean, they're taking them as young as 6 now, aren't they? And signing them up. And, I don't know if I quite agree with that. But, I just, my little lad plays as well. And he's only 8 now. And I think that the pressures that were on me at that point, looking back, I think there is quite a lot of pressure on kids now, and when you're taking someone that young,
sucking the fun out of it, innit?
Yeah, a little bit. Don't get me wrong, they're getting well trained, aren't they? And they're getting good coaches coaching them, but there comes a point where then they tell them they don't want them anymore, and you've got to explain that to your little lad who doesn't really understand at that age. So for me, I don't really quite agree with it that young, but because it was difficult for me dealing with it at 15, getting released. So, but I suppose it is what it is. There's good aspects of it and bad for me. They get well coached, but is it too young? It probably is. Yeah.
So the rugby comes along, mate. So how long was you at Blackbrook for before you got spotted then? And
yeah, well, it was literally 1 year. Under 16s. Again, one of my mates from school, he said, "Well, come down." He obviously played with me at school, so he said, "Just come down, just come and we need a scrum half really, so come down and give it a go and see how you get on in training." And to be fair, I loved it. Yeah. I don't know. I might end up back in there next few games. I'm not sure. But yeah, he just said come down, and it just kind of went from there. It kind of happened really quick. Obviously, I was playing at a good club with Blackbrook and playing with some great players that were already part of the kind of Saint scholarship service area, whatever you call it now. So I was playing with good players, and it probably brought out the best in me as well. And so then went down to the scholarship. And to be honest, I think I don't know if you think the same. I think when you go to them trials at scholarship, I think probably half the team's already picked before the trial, or maybe more than that. I think they kind of know roughly which lads they're gonna keep or they're gonna go for without even doing the trial. And I don't think I was anywhere near it. I'd first come from Moss Bank. Mike Rush didn't really know much of me. So I went down the trial just thinking. My dad just said, "Just listen, whatever happens, mate. Don't take it to heart. Just keep going." And I had the best trial I could possibly have. And it's not like me to score tries, but I think I scored 3. I mean, like everything that went for me kind of thing. Everything that could, and he probably could not, sign me off that. So I had, probably the trial of my life really. And then, it just went from there. 16s and obviously 17s, 18s got signed, and made my debut at 18 then.
Yeah, so where would you have rated your game understanding? Because it's all well and good, like we speak a little bit about fans' input, which a lot of them want to play at the standard you've played at. So what was your understanding like at 16, coming from a fresh sport? Did you have a bit of game knowledge from watching Saints?
I think so. Like you say, watching it, growing up watching it, and playing little bits here and there. To be honest, I never actually played, but I'd always, what I've not mentioned is, I'd take the football on the field with my dad and my brother, but we'd also take the rugby ball as well. Yeah. So we would always had the ball in hand, whether it's playing on the front with my mates or playing on the field with my dad. Like I did have a little bit of experience playing growing up, but I suppose my understanding of it was very raw, in that sense of starting at 16 and then, like you have to learn quick, don't you? And I suppose being at Blackbrook, good team, good coaches, and then getting in early at scholarship, I was getting coached well, and I was around good players. And I've always been confident. I've always talked, I've never really been that probably shy person, really. And
right, so you've always had that guidance in your game, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you obviously it's new to you at the start, isn't it? And you pick
because it's
things
not
up.
natural, Matt, is it?
No, but I think I do. I think I learned quite quick as well with stuff, and I probably had to at the time because, like you said, I didn't play as a kid that much, so I was fortunate. And like I mentioned, I had a little bit of luck as well with good trial games.
Yeah. So do you think maybe not having a preconception of certain clubs and certain teams coming into the game where you were able to just play what you see instead of thinking, well, since I've been 11, such a body from Wigan's been really good, such a body from Leeds quite good, even from Widnes is quite good. You've just been able to go out and play what you want to play and play what you see, haven't you?
Yeah, and I still think people are doing that now. I mean, I look at everyone. A few players playing Super League, two people spring to mind, and who just go out and play and don't really think about it. Probably two of the best players in the game. James Roby's one of them. He doesn't really think about much. He just goes out and does what he does. I think he's mentioned in the interviews that he's done, recently with his 500 game that he just, and people say it about him, that he just sits there in the change room. It's like there's nothing really going on. And then all of a sudden he's changed and he's out and he's doing what he's doing. He probably does. It probably helps him that he doesn't think about it too much. He just goes and does it. So, I think with me, I probably need to think about it a little bit more because I've obviously not got the talent that Rob's had or another one, Matt Purcell. Probably not. I probably had to work on my game a little bit more and think about things, certain things, and it's probably especially me position as well, being an halfback. It's something that I've learnt along the way. But like I say, I've had great coaches, I've had great players playing around me, which has obviously helped.
Yeah, and from a young lad, are you picking little traits up from people?
Yeah, I think you learn. I'm always watching. I even do it now, mate. Like I can't watch a full game without rewinding it. And how did that try happen? Well, sometimes it's just a good try, but I'm always saying, well, it happened because he's
analysing it.
I'm probably analysing it too much, and that's probably what I did as a kid. Really, I was always looking at, especially people in my position, and I was fortunate having Sean Long there and watching him and watching what he does. But I've always analysed things.
Have you?
Yeah.
And how was the environment in a professional rugby league club compared to what you've just left? Was it just as good? Was it up there with it?
Yeah, I think going into a club like Saints as well, it's just you have that Saints badge on your chest. It's and you get the facilities. It is obviously a step up from where you was the amateur game, and and you're probably around, and I wouldn't even say around the best players, because there's always someone that slips under the net or hasn't had that kind of. I mean, I played with probably 6 lads at Blackbrook that were better than me at 16s,
right? And
they never went on and made it, and whether that's attitude, injuries, probably a few injuries as well, and just being unfortunate. That's probably what it is. But I think just being at a club like Saints was just great.
Yeah. So how was your year in academy? I guess you'd have done the academy, mate, and all that. So how was that for you, and how was it getting to grips with? Because like we said, you've come from football, so the vision's there, but the structure's not quite the same, is it? So you want to put players on to get you to certain areas. How long did it take for you to get to grips with that?
Yeah, I think it obviously takes a little bit of time. 16s, we only had 6 games as well. I think we.
Oh, did you?
You only play. You don't play that many games. Oh, we didn't play that many games back then. I think there was 6 games altogether. I think we played Warrington and Wigan, team.
Yeah.
Oh well, to be honest, was it Wigan and Leigh? I think
Wigan,
they were.
It was, yeah.
They were joined, weren't they? So we never had that many games, and it was probably only when I got into the 18s that then it started becoming a little bit of structure, and this is what you want to do. We obviously had more sessions, and I was then 18, obviously maybe debut, but I was sniffing around the first team then at 17, 18, doing a bit of training with them, which probably also helped me, training with them in the day and then going train on the night. Not everyone did that, but I was fortunate to do that. So it obviously takes a little bit of time. It takes hard work, doesn't it? And listening to people and all that kind of stuff. But I think, like I said before, I think I'm probably someone that picks that kind of stuff up pretty quick. And then so obviously from there, then 18s, right, you're in the first team, but you still play obviously 21s. I think it was 21s at the time, and I remember that jump being massive.
It was.
All of a sudden you're like 17, 18 playing 18s, and they're all your age, and then once you can't play 18s anymore, you're jumping up and playing against men. I remember 21s. Obviously, you're playing against 21-year-olds at 18, but you're also competing. I think you could have 3 players that were over that age as well. I remember playing against Bradford one week, and I think Stu Fielding was coming back from injury, and he was playing, and he was in the prime of his career then. I was playing against Stu Fielding, and I didn't think we could get hold of him. He was so strong and big, but I suppose that's learning as well, and that's having certain experiences in it against playing against men. So that was a big leap as well from 18s to 21.
Right. So how did the debut come about? How was you told about it, and how was the build up to it?
Yeah, again, I think Saints are always pretty good at promoting young lads, weren't they? And they still are now, and giving young lads a chance. And so I knew it was coming. I knew it was going to come. Sooner than later. But to be honest, I think what helps being at a club like that as well, that they do well in the cup.
Yeah.
And so I think it was the week before we had like a quarters or semi-finals of the Challenge Cup. He obviously wanted to rest Longy and people like that. I think he rested Leon as well. And so me and Scott Moore played halves against Huddersfield. And just when he told me, it was, I think looking back now, I can't really remember him telling me it was so young and just so a long time ago. But I can imagine that, it was probably, the best feeling. And to make your debut for your hometown club is, I remember the game like it was yesterday. It's something that I'll never forget. So I think I got a 40-20 as well in my first game, so which was nice.
Right.
So we just got beat actually. We got beat 18-16. But just a great experience. Yeah, great. Obviously, great for you to make your debut for your hometown club is obviously special.
And I think, like you said, Saints are pretty good at that conveyor belt. That'll attract people as well, won't it? But how did that first year go, mate? How did you find it? Was you in and out the side?
I think I played about 8 games all together. Would it have been, or was that my second year? I think, no, that might have been my second year. So I think I played 9 games second year. So I would have only played a couple of games that first year. But I think just being in and around the squad and getting a game here and there was probably good enough at the time. I was probably happy with that. I think when you've got someone like Longy in front of you as well, you don't really expect to play many games. So, but when I did, obviously you want to take your chance. But Dang Anderson was good. I mean, he brought me into the first team squad. Millwood left in 2005, and he signed. Obviously, he signed and come in as a coach. And I remember him watching one of the games. He stood behind the post, and he come over to me after the game, and that's when he told me he was going to bring me to the first team squad. So he was great to me. Like, I learned so much from him, and I think his man management was probably the best I've had as well. I think he knew he could probably tell me off and get into me and about certain things, and I'd probably have that reaction of, well, I'll finish you or you kind of thing. And where other players, I'll obviously mention name names, but he had to put his arm around, because if he did that, they'd just go the other way and they'd play even worse. So his man management was second to none. someone that I've probably learnt a lot off, in them early years.
So we give you that little bit of a taster to really kick on then, mate, in that pre-season to try and impress.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I forgot to tell you before, but I just remembering someone stood behind the post, and I wasn't quite sure who it was at first, and then obviously you realise like he had his shades on as well, and like definitely I was Australian like yeah. So yeah, it kind of give you that kick up the arse that you needed, knowing that he was there watching, and thankfully, obviously, again, I played quite well, and I just remember him coming up and saying you're going to be in my first team next year, which was a great feeling, obviously.
Yeah, and how was you before the game, Matt? Was you a nervous player? Was you all right? How would you have been in the dressing room, like?
Is that younger or now? Or
just in general, yeah.
Yeah, I think the nerves, probably excitement more than nerves. I think early on I was probably more nervous, but I think the nerves probably helped me a little bit, to do well. But yeah, I always felt quite nervous before the game and leading up to the game in the day, and obviously them little butterflies you have when you sat there half an hour before. But I think as soon as you went out for warm up, or as soon as that first whistle went, you kind of know what you're doing. So the nerves kind of just leave you. But yeah, I still get a little bit nervous now. Probably more relaxed now.
Yeah.
But I think there's still a few nerves there, just because you want to do well. You want to perform. You don't want to lose. You want to win. And so I suppose that the being scared of losing is probably more for me than the nerves.
Yeah, you're probably quite lucky as well. You got an early touch, wouldn't you? If you hadn't have kicked the ball off, you'd have been getting kicked off too, wouldn't you? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It does help, doesn't it? It does help getting in games, and that's what I try to tell myself to this day. Make sure your first tackle's good, make sure your first kick's good, make sure your first pass good. So that kind of first involvement in a game is big. For how you play the game.
I was just going to touch on how you dealt with a coach change, but with him saying that to you pretty early, I imagine you were settled right in when he come in then, because you knew what he wanted from you.
Yeah, and he was probably, I think when new coaches come in, they try and get the players, don't they? And I remember, with Justin Albrook come in, and I was kind of the half back. He wanted to blood, he blooded Danny Richardson through, didn't he? And he probably wants to bring his own players through then, and then that's fine. I think if I was a coach, I'd want my own lads as well, to come through it. But that's what Daniel was for me. He brought me into the first team, and he showed massive faith in me as early on, and gave me great opportunities there, especially the opportunities he gave me with obviously having the team he had as well. Longy and Leon, and like I mentioned, you're probably not going to play every game, or a lot of games, but when you get a chance, and he gave me quite a few chances, you've got to take them. And he was, to be honest, he was dead honest with me as well, and I fault that. I remember meeting him just round the corner here before I actually left in 2008 to go on loan to Crusaders.
Yeah.
It was 2008, so I was 3 years in to being a professional then, and I kind of passed the academy. He was kind of saying, listen, you're not going to get anything out of playing academy now.
Yeah.
You're not going to play for me unless Longy's injured. You need to play, and we feel like you need to go on loan for a year. And I just thought, at the point of that, I just thought, yeah, I want to go on, I want to play, But he could have rang me and did that. He could have let Mike Rush, he actually asked to meet me, and I still remember that now. I've got massive respect just for him doing that. He didn't need to do that. I was a kid at the time. I was 19 years old, and just to do that was I thought was great.
Yeah, and like you said there, with coaches blooding young lads in, like you were still young when you made that move, like you just touched on. But the younger you are, they can sort of shape you, can't they? Because Saints tend to keep all the coaches really domestically, don't they? Yeah. So they kind of shape you into the 6, 7, 9, 13 you want to shape you into. The older you get, quite harder to come out away from your game, innit? And against what they want.
Yeah.
So initially, you come to us on loan, mate, didn't you?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I did.
well, the listeners, but so how did you enjoy that spelling? I think you've answered my question really, but usually some people can take a loan as a kick in the face or a great opportunity, can't they? And
Yeah.
I think you took it the latter, didn't you? And
oh, definitely. I think, like I said, I got to a point where I wasn't really bothered. I wasn't really bothered where I was. I could have been playing at Blackrock, back at Blackrock. I could have been, I just wanted to play like that. And I think going to Crusaders that year really put to me that I don't well if I'm not going to go back to Saints and play, I want to go out on loan again.
Yeah.
And obviously that's when I sorted out with Sean McRae and the club that I'd go again on loan to Salford. And I think I had I went on loan for a year and then I signed a 2-year deal then. And again, that really got me career going, being at Salford. I think playing every week, obviously training, being the main halfback, which I probably wasn't at the time when I first went. I think Jeremy Smith was there and a few other people, but I eventually got that position and made it kind of my position. And I think they ended up moving Jeremy into 9. So played a lot of games that year, and then new coaches come in again and we're putting this squad together, which was great. I thought, Luke Patton and Daniel Oldsworth, great signings. We had Joel Moon at the point. We had good wingers in Jody Broughton and Danny Williams. So I think as an attacking team, we were great. Sometimes it was like 40 points to 30, wasn't it, in games, or we'd just be losing games. I actually watched the Magic weekend when we beat Huddersfield not long ago, and that was an unbelievable game. But probably one of the best games and most enjoyable games I've played. And but yeah, it was just good for me. That Salford was just great for me personally, and put me back to that point where I was really enjoying my rugby again. And yeah, I obviously signed from Wigan from there.
Yeah, because remember, just going back a little bit, when he had Steve on, you and Steve were both on loan together for that 2 years.
Yeah, we were, yeah.
And I was working at the Albion back then.
Right.
And I remember you were there before a presentation evening, just having a few pints, just you two. And I went up
and... that?
Yeah. Didn't want to say it. But I said, like, what you was planning on doing. And you were pretty open. You didn't just fob me off on it. You just said, listen, like, if we can stay, we'd stay. But it's sort of in Saints' hands rather than ours.
Yeah.
Is that ever frustrating that you can't say, I'd rather stay, or do you not mind the fact that they can just go, well, we'd rather you go here, so you're going here?
Yeah, I think as a player, you want to. I mean, I'll be deadly honest with you. If I had a chance to go back to St Helens hometown club, you would. But I think having a year on loan there was only one place I probably wanted to be, and that was there at that point. I was enjoying it. They offered me a 2-year deal. Saints didn't really want me back anyway. I mean, I think the coaches changed as well, didn't it? Did Nick Potter get it? And you just said before, when a new coach comes in, they want to bring their own young lads through. He didn't want me, who's been on loan. He hadn't even met me. So I think Saints kind of passed me by a little bit. It was gone anyway. So I was really happy to sign. 2 years there. And like I said, the rugby we were playing really suited me as well, and really enjoyable. It was just that we probably needed to obviously just defend a lot better than we did. And but looking back, I don't think Sean McRae was the defensive type coach. I think we did a lot of attack and not much deep.
So when you're in them sorts of spells, mate, do you have, with no disrespect to Salford, recent past, they've done really well. They probably punched above the weight, haven't they? But are you half thinking there could be a bigger move on here for me, or?
Well, yeah, and I probably owe that to Salford, because they kind of brought out the best of me in that 2 years. The players I was playing with, and it did put me in the shop window. And Saints were back interested. I don't know if you know that, but in 2012, I met Wigan, I met Saints, and it was just through obviously meeting Sean and the staff, and the things they were saying to me and what they wanted to do, it was them I picked because of probably Wayne and the couple of meetings I had with him. But I think in terms of not staying at Salford at that point, like you've probably said, we were probably losing more than we were winning, and I had a shocking year the 2 years before at Crusaders, where I think we only won 3 games in the whole year, and I probably was at a point where if I got the chance to go Wigan, he kind of sold it that we're going to win things and we're going to do this. You're going to be my main halfback, and I just, how can you say no to that? At that point, I was going to play with Sam Tompkins and people like that. I mean, Sam was in his prime at that time. It was just a too big of an opportunity to pass up, really. And although I was really enjoying my Salford career, it was just, like I say, it was just too big of an opportunity to really say no to.
And it was at Salford you played for the Knights, mate, wasn't it?
Yeah. I made me England debut.
Full debut as well.
It was against the Exiles, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a week before I moved to Wigan, actually. I wasn't going to Wigan until 2013. But I think Thomas Luluai got injured in the first Exiles game. And Wigan wanted me. Wigan wanted me there and then because he got injured, and they offered, I don't know if it was 50, 60 grand at the time to Salford, and Salford wanted to take it. So that's why I moved up. That's why I moved halfway through the season.
If you have to.
If I wasn't going to get in the way of it, but it was. They wanted me to leave because they wanted money. They obviously knew that in 4 months' time I was going to go anyway.
But it's a business as well, Matty, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, mate. So if we can get 50 grand for it, we will now. We'll do it, and they did. But I actually got, into the England setup from playing for Salford. So, yeah.
And how was that, mate? Talk us through that process of a new changing room, a different coach.
Yeah.
And it was a brand new concept as well, wasn't it? The Exiles that year. It was the first time it was done.
It was a tough game, actually. And obviously, when you first go into the England setup, I've obviously been around the Knights and stuff, but when you get into that first England setup, and I always say it's like playing your first grand final. It kind of passes you by a little bit. You're kind of there 1 minute, and then the week's gone, the game's gone, and you're like, where did that go? It's hard to really take it all in. And that's what the first week was for me. I was obviously only involved because he was resting a few people as well, and I think we played after Danny Brough, and we actually got beat. But it was a good experience. It was a great experience.
What an achievement, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it was. It was great. It doesn't actually count as a cap, but to put that England jersey on, there's nothing better, is there? So, I mean, to play against a few of the players as well, and play with some of the great players as well. It was a great thing for me, and it went on to be first of a few, but it was one I enjoyed, even though we lost.
Yeah. And what are you like? Because I'm quite sentimental, mate, really. So if I'd be keeping them first jerseys, programmes, what like? Are you like that, or are you not bothered?
No, yeah, I've kept every top I've had, whether it's England, whether it's Crusade, whether it's anything really. I've kept all that. Actually, my dad's got it all. He's got it all, and he's well, I won't tell you where he's got it, but in case this goes out. But yeah, he's got from the rings that I've won to all the tops I've got. So I've not really looked at any of them to be honest since. I think it's something that you probably look back on, when your career's done. But yeah, I like the England top, definitely, 100%. It'll be up there in a box somewhere.
So I was walking into your arch rivals, really. How was that for you? Is it a bit bizarre? Or, again, is rugby, as much as we love it, it is a business as well as a game, isn't it?
Yeah, to be honest, it was, I think because I left Saints, they released me kind of thing, or I left with their blessing. I think walking into Wigan, it wasn't something that I was like nervous. I knew that I was walking into a big environment, good environment. You know, at that point they had, like I mentioned, they had some unbelievable players. You know, Lockley, Tompkins, Carmon, you know, Finch, Lulawai, people like that. It was excitement more than anything, and just to be in a part of that squad was great. I actually, before I signed, it was the Magic Weekend, and I think would it have been the Salford and Huddersfield when we beat them, and after it was Saints and Wigan, the grand final. I already signed for them then. I'd already signed, made the decision, signed for Wigan, and me and my dad was sat in the crowd watching it, and I don't remember, Tompkins scored that half length. He went all the way around everyone and scored in the corner, and I just kind of looked at me and I'm going to be playing with him next week. How good is this?
Is that right?
Yeah, it's just so it was just more excitement, mate, getting in there and getting amongst it and getting my debut. Yeah. You know, as soon as I could get my debut, the better, really, and great times.
And did they have Robin Arena at this point, or were they still at Orrell?
No, they were still at Orrell. Yeah, they was always at Orrell when I was there. Yeah.
Still a good facility, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, mate. I've seen Robin Park, and I know how good that is. But you know, Orrell was up there as well. You know, obviously it was all on site. You know, the pitch wasn't, you know, brilliant, but it was all right. And the gym was great. They had a wrestle area. You know, they had their own chef. Like we were looked after. It was spot on. And you know, around the corner from where we lived at the time as well, we lived in Billinge. My wife's from Billinge, so we moved up there and lived there. So it was good. You know, it was great. It was great for 4.5 years out there, and you know, I've had nothing but fun memories of the place. Yeah.
So what are them like? What are them big derbies like? What are the finals like? What are the build-ups to them big games like for you? And
yeah, the best. I mean, the Good Friday's coming up, isn't it? And there was no better game for me than that Good Friday game. You know, you're playing throughout the year, and it was always busy. It was always packed out. But I think there's something special about the Good Friday game. You know, the history behind it and stuff like that. And unfortunately for me, I was always on the right side of it as well. I was always on the winning side. I don't think we got beat for 5 years I was there. So it was always good experiences. And
must be some record, that, mate.
Yeah, I think it was longer than that, mate. I think on Good Friday, I think before me as well, I think you've not lost for all 7 games on Good Friday. But it's always good as well when you're living in St Helens. You know, no one can really say much to you when you're winning. So I never really got abuse as well, which was nice, because they couldn't really say anything. But it was just, a good period for me being at Wigan. And like you said, them Good Friday games, you know, up there with the grand finals, they're the best games. They're the one you look at and, you know, can't wait for when the season, you know, gets started.
Yeah. So what little sacrifices the young lads that are playing now have to look at to get to that stage? Because you've gone straight to a big club, and then you've found your place, mate, sort of thing, haven't you? With Salford after a couple of loan spells, and then you're re-establishing yourself. What did you find the little things were that helped you climb that ladder again?
I think when I signed for Wigan, I honestly think that the training was so intense. It wasn't, I wouldn't say long. It was you was in, and if you always train at 9 o'clock, you have to be at 8. If you know what I mean, it was really professional. Everything was on the button. If you stepped out of the line, you paid for it. So you was always on your toes, you know, with Sean, and that was a good thing for me.
Or player-led?
It was both, mate. It was both. It was obviously probably coach-led at first, and he obviously brought them standards in and that culture in. But it was player-led then. You know, we had good senior players. You know, Lockley, like I mentioned. You know, Tompkins. I ended up obviously coming in and then getting into that senior group. So I think it was coach-led, but senior boys, you know, enforced it, took it on, and even young lads were doing it. You know, even young lads would be in, there'd be no kind of answer backs. That everyone just got on with the job, and it was
You've got it right then, yeah.
Yeah, it was something you had to do, and that helped me, you know, because I was always someone that probably needed to train to get better, to keep my weight down, and you know, because that's just the way I'm made. But so it helped me a hell of a lot, and you know, there's not saying that we didn't go out and enjoy ourselves, because we did, but we did it after a win when we're going well. You know, if we'd have lost a couple of games, we wouldn't be. You know,
work hard, play hard, mate, innit?
Exactly, and I've done that all the way through my career. I'm not going to sit here and say I've been the ultimate professional. I like a pint with my mates. I like going out. I like, you know, I think them off the field, things you do off the field as well with your teammates are memories that you'll always have, you know, and that's part and parcel of it, you know. But you've got to do, when you're into work, you're working and you're working hard and you're trying to improve, and as long as you're doing that, like, you know, that was all right with Shaw. You know, that was the Wigan way. You know, you work hard first, and if you're doing all right, then we get we'll have a little bit of a beer on the weekend. But yeah, like I mentioned, just Wigan suited me down to the ground up from the way they wanted to play. Suited me. The training suited me because I was always working, I was always sweating, you know, I was always working, grafting, yeah. And yeah, it was just a great club for me personally.
Right place at the right time, then, Matty, yeah.
Yeah, and went, you know, in 24 I was like in kind of my best years, 24, 25, 27, you know, it was like in my pomp basically. So it was a good time for me and just a good club.
I was getting that jersey number because that, like, back in the day, it was never like never submitted just to a name, was it? So lots of big names had wore that 7 jersey, and then the next minute Smith on the back of it.
Yeah.
Did you feel any pressure from people, or were you just loving it?
Yeah, I think just loving it, mate. Just excitement. I think, you know, you look at the names, and there's Gregory and there's Edwards and Luluai, worked before me, and Lamb, you know, people like that. The history behind it is just, yeah, unbelievable. So I've always cherished every jersey I've had with 7 on the back, you know, Saints, wherever it may be, Salford. You know, you kind of, that number 7 jerseys, you know, it's big. You're kind of a leader, aren't you, the half-back, and people look to you to do things. So, but yeah, a bit wearing it at Wigan was special, gotta say. And they had, like, at the time at Oral, they had like a legends circle, and yeah, some of the players in that circle, you know, some of the pictures that were there, like said Edwards and Gregory and people like that. And them two, they used to come games as well, so we used to see them at the game. So to talk to them as well was yeah, obviously good. But to be successful, I think, in it was another thing.
Yeah. So I was the lead up to the Challenge Cup finals, the grand finals, because you're looking, you've won Lance Todd, you've been in Super League dream teams, you've been on both sides of the result on a grand final, so you know the ultimate feeling of both result. And you've won man of the match in international games. It's like there isn't, you've hit the absolute pinnacle of club and international game. I mean, yeah, what are them build-ups like? Are they different from domestic to international?
I'd have to say, yeah. I mean, the grand finals obviously are a part, you know, the massive games. But you know, I was fortunate. I mean, I've had throughout my career, probably like anyone, I've had ups, I've had downs. You know, but I think playing at clubs other than international, I think the international stuff is, you realise that everyone's watching. Everyone's, you know, there's a bigger pool of supporters watching you. You know, countries watching you, and you know, there's probably a little bit of a bigger pressure. But it was something that I probably think about now, but probably never really thought of it at the time. But I think to wear that English badge on your chest and is the biggest, the biggest thing you can do in the game. And I was fortunate to do that a few times and go over to Australia and tour, and then do the New Zealand over here as well, the Test series in 15. So it was special times. Then that 4 or 5 year period of playing for Wigan and representing the country was no bigger feeling for me.
Right, and could you ever have imagined the return home would have come about?
No, probably not at the time when I was playing, obviously for Wigan. I think I was really happy. I was enjoying my rugby and playing from the country as well. But I think, like anything, in the end it was probably more or less mutual. I think I remember having a few conversations with Sean and I think Saints was sniffing around. I think Kieran was into a few different people, whether he was speaking to Wigan as well. But he made no lies that he wanted to come back. But I was saying, listen, I'm happy at Wigan, and that was that, and it all happened so quick, really. And then all of a sudden, they offered a contract. I think they offered something to Wigan. And I just remember going into Wayne's office, and then the mood kind of changing. And I think from the business side of things, I think this is why Wigan probably wanted, me to take that contract, and it was probably because of they had George Williams that he thought a lot of. They probably wanted to up his contract. They had Tommy Luluai coming back the year after. Yeah. And I was on a very good contract, and they probably thought, well, if Matty moves on, we get to up George's contract, make him happy. Tommy's coming back, we've got cover anyway. So it probably made sense for them as well. So that from that point of view, Wigan probably would have been happy with me to take it. And then I think for me personally, when he kind of said that, you should think about taking it, I probably thought, well, I'm going back to my hometown club. I get a second crack of it,
A bit of unfinished business, maybe, yeah.
A bit of unfinished business, yeah. And can I go back and do something there? I really want to do that. And so that's probably why I decided to go as well. But listen, I mean, in hindsight's a great thing, isn't it? And
yeah, of course it is.
I probably, obviously, the injuries I got them that first year at Saints. If I'd stayed at Wigan, would I got that? Would I carried on? And would it be different? But you can't say in terms of that. I don't think I've got any regrets. Though I think I played 4.5 great years at Wigan in terms of Wigan, and I ended up on a grand final win in 2016. So I probably left at a good time as well. And it is what it is, isn't it? I got to go back to my old time club and give it another crack. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. But life's life.
And how had you been with injuries up until then, mate?
I was very durable. I always remember Wayne saying to me how durable I was. And I think in the space of the 4.5 years I was at Wigan, I don't think I missed a couple of games, and I think one was through suspension. So, really durable. And, yeah, when I had one yellow card.
And you got a ban for it.
Kicking Reece Ambry as well. I didn't even punch him. I kicked him.
Oh, yeah, remember that behind the sticks.
Proper shit house trick, that. Yeah. So I was really durable, like I say, at Wigan, and early on in my career, I didn't really get injuries. I'm not really that explosive type to get injuries. So if I'm going to get any injuries, they're probably going to be big ones, like breaking your leg or doing your eye socket, like I did at Saints. So it's just what it is, and it's unfortunate. I think you'd be daft to think you're going to go throughout your whole career not getting a bad injury. And unfortunately for me, it was my first game back. It was the first kind of a trial game. I broke my leg, and then that put me out obviously for half the season, and come back and did my eye socket as well with Wilco, and Wilco put the thumb in. That was the second game back, so I missed the majority of that season. And So we think what was gutting for me about that year, and it wasn't me breaking my leg or doing my ice hockey, it was the fact that, you know, my idol growing up and the bloke that brought me back, Kieran Cunningham, got the sack. And, you know, that probably hit me harder than anything, really.
Yeah. So what are clubs like with you when you have, I was going to say niggles then, but they're not niggles. So what are the club like with you when you've got them injuries?
Oh, so like Saints were fantastic. I think, you know, and I owe a lot to Nathan Mill and the physio team there. They got me back pretty quick, to be fair. I think I missed about 8-9 games with a broken leg, and you know, it's pretty good now. They put a big plate on, don't they, and you're back playing within 8 weeks, which is probably a good way of doing it now. Just don't want to go through airports. You get the bleeps all the time, but
you wait forever now anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, they were fantastic, and I suppose like anyone, it's just bad luck, isn't it? And that's how they dealt with it. It's just bad luck. It's not as if you don't want to play. You know, as if you want to break the leg. It happens. It's sport, isn't it? And so they were fun. It was always good in my sense. It was just, you know, for me, it just didn't work out. It just, I think whether it being the way that the team was playing or didn't suit me or one thing or another, but, you know, I've got nothing bitter about Saints. I mean, they looked after me. You know, Eamon was fantastic. Mike Rush, you know, the coaching staff, the physio were great. The players, it didn't work out, and it was one of the things.
So you're not scared of a drop goal, mates? What about this famous drop goal?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I've dropped 30 goals for Wigan, and I've only dropped one for Saints. I mean, it was great. I mean, that game in particular was just crazy. I mean, we went, obviously yourself being Salford, they played really, really well that game, not taking nothing away from Salford. They were fantastic at that point. And
I'm Widnes, mate. Don't worry about Salford.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't think we were going to get anywhere near that game towards the end. And, you know, you get what it's like Saints, you know, what Saints are, you know, when they get one try, they get another one. And it was kind of that happened. And I think the last 7 minutes, we scored 3 tries. We got it to level. And then, you know, they kicked off to us. And we was like, we've got one set here, basically one set to try and get up the field. Either score a try or get the 1 point. And we didn't really get caught. I think we got about 40 out, and I went to drop it, and they got really good pressure on me. So I give it to Johnny, and Johnny went for him. It went nowhere near. So they get the ball back on the 20. There's 20 seconds left, and I thought, we're not going to get a chance here. We just let's stop them from scoring. Let's stop them from getting anything out of the game. And I just remember they're trying to chip it on the 40-metre line. And I'm like, what are we doing? And then we get the ball, and it just lands in my hands. I think Lou McCarthy's car's book chucks it over someone's head, and I get it on the half bounce, and I just straight away just thought, kick it. And I just launched, and I couldn't have hit it any sweeter, mate.
Yeah.
It was just perfect. And as soon as it left my foot, I knew he had a chance. I knew he hit it sweet, and he had to get it. And then what happened after that? It kicked it on the Utah. I heard the Utah go, and when it went over, the crowd went wild, and everyone jumped on me, and people say to me now, why did you run all that way? Why did you not run to your fans? I kind of ran they said I ran to the away fans, but I never, in that right-hand corner at the stadium, that's where the family sit. Right. So I ran to my family, and I only did that because my little twin girls had just been born the week before. So I was kind of ran to them kind of thing to celebrate with my family, but it looked like I was trying to rub it in, but I wasn't.
It also threw it.
Yeah, I get loads of shit for that, dropping a goal. I wasn't even doing it to them. But,
how did you find it setting them up, mate? So like you said, the 30 at Wigan don't get brought up to, you know what? But how was you in the situation where you had to sort of set one up? And say you were in a close game, what minute would you be looking at to form something to get in the position to knock one over?
Yeah, it's a good question. That I think it all depends on how the game's going. For one,
how you're feeling, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I in terms of what I'd want it to set up, I'd always try and say to my hooker, get me on that left hand post.
Yeah.
So then, if I need to go, if the markers try and close me down, I can go to the right of it, and I've still got that angle where I kick across the ball anyway.
Yeah.
So I can kick across. I can take it away from the markers and kick it across. But in terms of when in the set, I think if you're happy to go early, I think earlier the better. As long as you're in good range, I think go play 1, play 2, because they're not expecting you to go that early.
Yeah.
Because the longer you leave it, obviously they're going to go, right, last tackle, let's all charge him and try and get this ball. But in terms of a minute of a game, yeah, it just depends. I think it depends how the game's going. But if you're in range of them posts and you're drawing the game, and you say you're within 10 minutes to go, I would always go for it. You know, I think anything before the 10 minute, anything before the 70th minute, you're probably looking at keep building pressure. If we can't score, build pressure. But as soon as that 10 minutes come, 10 minutes left, I think you're looking at, what are we going to get from this game? Can we get this 1 point over?
Have you had to override people often in your career then to say like settle, let's build pressure, let's force a drop goal, like a drop out, or let's bang it in the corner, make them go the 90 metres? Have you had to do that often? I
don't. To be honest, I think because that's what people look at me to do. I think that's what I'm good at. I think, I've never had the step. I've never had the real speed. I know what I'm good at, and that's probably organising a game, managing a game, kicking well, more so than not, hopefully. But I think Widnes fans would say that at the minute. But kicking well and trying to organise, and that's why I like my other halfback to be that Johnny Lomax type, Danny Craig, them types of players, because it balances it up pretty well. So yeah, I've never really had anyone overrule me. Like, I think I've always probably made good decisions, and there's obviously probably a few bad decisions that I've made on the pitch where I should have probably gone for it and I've not, or certain things, but I think that's life, innit? That's you make mistakes. Yeah.
So the move to Catalan, mate, what an opportunity that was, and how did that come about? Who's representing you, and is anyone else in touch, or is it always Catalans?
Yeah, well, it obviously didn't go well at Saints, did it? And so I was obviously speaking to Andy about certain moves, and I think at the time, I think the Catalans' decision was based on out the clubs that were in for me. What have I got the most chance of winning? Who can I win? And I believe Catalans were the team that I could go to, and we could still maybe win a Challenge Cup, maybe win, maybe get into the playoffs and have a good bigger Super League. So I've always made the decision of signing for teams, not through money, believe it or not, it's through, winning and I've always done that. So Catalans was that point, and I think, being totally honest with you as well, I was struggling at the time, back in back end of St Helens' career. It weren't going well for me on the pitch. I had them injuries. I lived in the town. I obviously know a lot of people in the town, and it does get on top a little bit. And I probably didn't deal with that the way I probably should have done at the time. But I suppose Catalans was also a get out as well. How do I escape from this? So I'd probably said I chose Catalans because of that as well, if I'm being, deadly honest. And there was other factors as well, the opportunity, the experience, living in France, trying to learn a new language. But just that experience, I'd say more so was the experience and to win stuff. But there was something in my mind that, I can get away here.
Yeah,
I can get away for a year or two. It was just it probably just made my decision for me that the end.
So how did you enjoy your spell there, mate? And what did you take from that?
Yeah, it was a great experience. I think in the start, I had a really good pre-season, and it was looking back again, no regrets. It was a good experience, something that I'm glad I've gone and done with my family, my young family as well at the time. And my lad's 8 now, and my girls are 4. But at the time, the Sam was 3 and my twins were 1. So as you can imagine, there was a lot going on off the field as well. And and he had that kind of 2-year spell at Saints where it didn't go right, and probably hurt him from that a little bit because I wanted it to go so much better than it did. But I think going over there was, in terms of good opportunity, it was probably the wrong time as well.
Yeah.
Because of like I've just mentioned, young kids, of the situation of Saints, and but again, it was what it was. My wife struggled as well with obviously being at home with the kids a lot. I got the release of obviously going to training and being around the lads, and Jem was obviously on her own quite a lot of the time, and so it was difficult for her. But I think 12 months was well enough, and we decided to come back.
Right, and it was to our rivals, but Warrington won it, mate. And how does that come about? Because you're ticking boxes here, and as much as you're saying I weren't explosive, I weren't this, I was a good organiser. You're playing for all top clubs. There's not a club there where like you're struggling at relegation, or you're scraping wins, or you're getting battered every week. You're at the top end of the game. So how does that Warrington move come about, and does it reinvigorate you? Do you feel like you're coming back to your normal self?
Yeah, I think obviously a big club again, a massive club, and when I spoke to Steve Price, it was time for us to come home, and Pricey kind of just said there's room for you. We'd love to keep you, take you on loan, and give you that opportunity to come back. So. I know Lee Brace quite well as well, so that's probably helped the situation. But to get the opportunity to go there and play a few games, and at that point I didn't know where I was going to be the year after. I didn't know what I was going to do. Warrington obviously whispers of them wanting to sign me, but I think like anything, when you've not got a club, you kind of leave yourself. We don't have to pay that much for him, or you know what I mean. It kind of, we get him for cheap here, like kind of thing. So, but I was happy with that just to come back. I wanted just to come back, and like I say, I've always gone not so much for the money, just to places where I could probably win and bet myself. So that's why I come back, and got a few games at the back end of the season. Unfortunately, I got banned, didn't I, for the last game when they got knocked out, but it was what it was. Though.
Yeah. So at this stage of your career, you probably won't notice, but looking back now, do you think there's little bits of everyone you've been around starting to come together, and maybe clubs are leaning on you more to possibly boss a situation? So where you've usually just gone, right, I'll organise this next set, let's go defensive, and then pile the pressure on. Are you nurturing into an on-field coach?
Yeah, I think I have done over the back end of my career. I mean, even now, it's been like signing for Widnes, mate. I've really enjoyed that side of it, like you just mentioned, because Simon and Ryan O'Brien, they give me a chance to put my point across, and they ask for my opinion, and which is nice, isn't it? Like to get the players' opinion and stuff. They give me that kind of role. So I suppose the transition of me from player to coach, that's what I need to be doing more often now. And I think you start it's like playing, and if you start off at 18, you're a bit raw, and you just got to keep progressing, and hopefully, back end of your career, you're the player you want to be. I think that's what it's like with coaching. You start off that you're a bit of experience, you know the game, but you don't want to be a coach, but you need to learn and learn and learn, keep improving, keep learning off good coaches and players, and then eventually you get that chance to. I mean, look at Sean Wayne now coaching the international side. He started coaching 20 years ago, so it doesn't happen overnight. There's a process you've got to go through. So, thankfully to Widnes that they give me that opportunity to get my opinion across, which is nice.
Right, so you come back to us at Widnes, mate, don't you? And from the arch enemy and that, and is is part of that for the very reason we've just spoke about. You can sort of explore the off the field as much as you can still enjoy playing.
Yeah, and I think as well, as soon as I met the club, I'd already been at the club, obviously, like you mentioned, 2008, I come on loan, and I think the club as a whole is just a big club. It's a big club. There's got a good fan base. They want to get back into Super League. And I think signing for Widnes, like I've mentioned throughout this interview, it wasn't about money. It was about trying to help Widnes to hopefully reach Super League again. And if I could be a small part of that, then I'd retire happy, kind of thing. And that was what was in the back of my mind. And from obviously the other clubs that have come in for me as well. I mean, Newcastle was one. Newcastle, I won't speak about winning, but they offered me a hell of a lot more. Yeah. But I just think for me at that time, coming back from Catalans to then go again, to travel, and I just wanted to be at home. I wanted to be settled, my family settled. Widnes was 10 minutes away. They're a great club, big club, and they was giving me everything I needed to have. So, I kind of overlooked to Widnes actually because I don't know where I'd be with play. I don't know if I'll still be playing now. Really, I probably, if I hadn't got the Widnes contract, I might have even retired. So, it's been great since I've been back, and I'm enjoying my rugby again now. I'm enjoying training.
That's the best bit, innit?
Yeah, I had a few rocky years there at Catalans and Saints, and I just think for enjoyment again and just enjoying my rugby, it was the right decision.
Good man. So I appreciate him ruining your night here, but
no,
couple of daft questions, mate. Couple of daft questions. Pre-match superstitions, you got any?
You know what? Only game day. Like I just have. I don't worry about anything throughout the week. Or what I mean. Eating wise, I don't have to have the same stuff or whatever. But as soon as game day, as soon as I wake up in that morning, I've got to kind of do the same little things. And I suppose when it was full time, it's a little bit different now because sometimes I might be working or whatever. And it changes with kids, doesn't it? Like kids have either got football or rugby, so it's changed a little bit over the years. But beans on toast is a must. Yeah. Which is, any kind of nutritionist now would kill me. Pulling the hair out, definitely, because they have loads of cheese on it as well.
I can edit that.
But yeah, I think in terms of the game, it was a bit weird, but like gum shield, putting in my sock before we go out, and then when the whistle goes, putting it back in at half. So just little bits, but nothing too drastic, but just little stuff I need to do.
Right. So
not that it changes anything, mate. I've done that all my career, and I've lost games, I've won games, I've had bad injuries, I've not, So
it just helps me, doesn't it?
It just, I don't know, it's just routine, I suppose.
So the toughest player you've played with and against, mate?
Well, I mean, I don't want to say just the old, likes of Peacock and people like that. Like everyone says them and Morley.
The definition can be different though, mate, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And I think for me, like in terms of tough, mentally tough, people like Roby. I mean, especially when I was at Wigan, we used to try and get him off the field. We used to try and make him do a million tackles. And he would literally do a million tackles. And, you know what I mean? And still standing at the end of it. He played 80 minutes. So mentally tough, there's no one mentally tougher than James Roby. I'm sticking with Ruckers here. I mean, I played at Wigan with Mickey McClure, just so hard, like just a tough player. Just, he'd get off the line, he'd back someone. Again, he didn't know when he was beat Mickey, and didn't really feel pain. I remember him dislocating and breaking his ankle against Brisbane, and he wanted to walk off the field. I've never ever seen anything like that. Like, his leg was facing the other way, and he didn't want to get on the stretcher. He wanted to try and get off the field, and that for me is that's physically tough. Isn't it? That's just crazy. That I'd be looking at it, screaming.
Yeah,
I'd be crying my eyes out, but
I'd be making the ambulance noise myself.
It's awful, isn't it? But yeah, just a tough player. But yeah, I mean, I've played against so many people. I mean, playing for England against people like Greg Inglis.
Yeah.
I remember trying to hit Greg Inglis when he played fullback, and I remember trying to tackle him. He ran the ball back, and it was like hitting a brick wall, mate. I've never experienced strength like he's playing against someone like him. He was so strong, but yeah, probably different types of players. Rove's more mentally tough, Mickey probably both, and English. It's probably someone that, he's just brute strength, and physicality of him was ridiculous.
So your favourite away ground, mate?
Oh, I've got a few. I've played for a few teams, though, haven't I? You do this. You know where I've liked playing? I like playing at Cass. We've had some good times at Cass. I know it's an old stadium.
That's up there with them, with the dead ones.
I think it's just something about maybe the Cass fans, and because you can hear everything. So when you're not going too well, they give you some shit, and you can hear it. So then when it's going well, it kind of just, because they're on top of you, you can kind of hear everything they're saying, and they feel like they're on the pitch with you at times. So we've had a few games with them over the years, and they've been really good games. So I'd probably say Cash. Yeah, I mean, the new stadiums like Hull FC is great, isn't it? Playing there, and obviously Saints when I've been playing for Wigan, and Wigan when I've been playing for Saints. Them packed out stadiums, 20,000 odd. There's no better atmosphere than them. So, but I'd probably say Cass.
Right. So if you were in the Snake or you're at Simmies after you've won, because you're not allowed out when you've been beat, obviously.
No.
And you've had a few, mate. The mic's in your hand. What are you giving us?
You know what? I've never been the Stig, but
haven't you?
No, but I think it's going to come soon. And the lads go on about it all the time. I can't believe I've never been. But when they've gone out, I've never gone. But I am looking forward to my first experience there. But what would I sing? I'd probably go. I've seen that one done by actually the Living Widnes. That Water Boys, the Moon.
Oh, the acoustic odds.
The acoustic odds, and they sing that really well. I'd like to think I could belt that out, but I probably couldn't. So I'd probably be somewhat like something that someone sings along with, like the Old Bar in Sweet Caroline or something.
Yeah. Right, you giving us the shuffle, or are you just blasting it out?
Yeah, I'm just blasting out there. Hopefully people join in.